Esther, for those of you who have not met me. I want to thank everybody for coming here today. I know this issue has been contentious, to say the least, and combative. I don't want to make this meeting about this today. They asked homeowners to come today to talk, brainstorming session, to try to figure out what we can do to fix our community and to fix the problems that have been ongoing for a long time. This meeting's going to stop at noon, so I'm going to stop all public comment about 15 minutes before, but everyone's going to have an opportunity to speak that wants to speak. I ask you to stick to the facts as much as you know them, but I ask you to stick to theft and mismanagement. I'm not going to discuss utilities or every other issue that we have in the association right now. This is the issue at hand today that I'm going to ask everyone to be part of. I bought my house here in 2012, and I have to tell you guys I love Ocean Pines. I've been coming down to this area for 15 years. We moved here from our house in Ocean City, and I absolutely love the Pines. I plan on retiring here in 5 years. So when I saw these issues going on, I became very passionate about it. Having been a businesswoman and still a businesswoman, the way things are being done is just not ethical. It's lack of a better word, it's not ethical. Let me start off the meeting by saying this is not a witch hunt. I know you've all seen me post this on the forum. It's not a witch hunt, it's not a blame game. We have serious problems here that need to be addressed. So just pointing fingers at everybody is just not going to help the situation. The problem facing the Ocean Pines did not occur under this board alone. This has spanned over years of boards. And this shows me one thing. We do not have the ability to self-govern or run our HOA ourselves. The sweeping under the carpet to preserve Ocean Pines' great community status, secret meetings, looking the other way attitude, not having people arrested for stealing, not collecting on members' accounts at the golf clubs. These are just the tip of the iceberg. If you take a look at the packet that I gave you, which I'm not going to go over in too much detail, I wanted to give everyone a little sampling of the things that have been sent to me over the last couple of weeks since I've announced this meeting. You'll see I posted in there, put in there the letter from Dave Stevens. I posted his letter that he put on the forum for those who didn't see it because he outlines in great detail what needs to be done in this community. I put the letter in there from Brett. Now, you can say what you want. I know Brett's here. He knows my feelings. I was one of the people at the pool this year that was bitching about Brett. I told Brett to his face. I was calling for his head, all right? And I'll be public about it, and I told him that myself. Problem is, guys, Brett's not the problem. Brett came in as an unpaid position. He came in and with obviously not enough or oversight at all by our board. You can only blame this man so much, and it's unfair blame. It's not a point to be argued. It is the fact. Going forward, I want to spell out my thoughts and pretty much where I think we need to go, but then I'm going to turn this meeting over to you. So, at this point, I understand there's been other groups. I think it was called the Pickleball Revolution, was one of the groups that was told to me. Concerned citizens of Ocean Pines that have tried to change things. I can't answer for them, but I can tell you that I'm committed to making this change happen. I'm committed to transparency. This is not something I can do by myself. I think I went around and pretty much introduced myself to everybody here. I can't do this by myself. You can't just come to one meeting and expect me to come in on a white horse and figure it all out. It's not going to happen that way. I'm asking for community support. I'm asking for us to do a grassroots effort to work with the board, the current board, and the current GM to try to fix it. I'm not here looking to take heads. I want to work with the board with you, the people in our community. We have to have more of a say. This meeting is being recorded, as Stuart told you. It will be on YouTube for everyone to look at. After the meeting, we'll be putting together notes from this meeting of the priorities that we've decided need to be addressed. Here are things as I see it. The amount of phone calls, emails, text messages that I've gotten from people in the community, active employees, former board members, has been staggering. Number one, we need an outside neutral management group to come in and run HOA. I know that we're talking to someone to come in and run the food and beverage. It's not enough. We need a professional company to come in with no ties to anybody here. To come in, take control, and run this like a business, which it needs to be. This can only be done by an outside third party. You'll see in your package there was an estimate we got from an outside management company for $159,000. I had someone contact me and they said, you're going to cost us a lot more money. Let me ask everybody a question. How much money do you think has been stolen or mismanaged in this community? I will bet you it's over $159,000. So you got to look at the bigger picture here. The forensic audit. I was very happy to see the board voted to do the forensic audit. The problem is, has anybody here worked in finance? Show of hands? Okay. Okay. You follow the money, right? A term in finance, you follow the money. That's where you start. You don't start with food and beverage. You start with the accounting department. You follow the money to see where things are going. That's what you have to look at here. The fact that we're starting with food and beverage is a waste of time. Let me ask everybody here, people who've worked in business, where have you ever worked in business that a controller gets denied access to a safe in one of the departments? I can tell you as a businesswoman, I've never had it, and I've worked in the mortgage community for 31 years. One of my jobs at a large company in New York was fraud. 3 times it took the controller to be able to get access to the safe at the country club. Why?
Because they were hiding something.
That could be, okay? But the question is, no controller should be denied access to our safes in any department. They should have instantaneous access. I can tell you that when the feds walk into a company, they get instantaneous access, okay? There is no, we'll get back to you next week, okay? I heard another disturbing story that I felt was worth sharing that happened at the golf club a couple weeks ago. An employee had reported mismanagement of funds. They went and opened the safe was short. And then there was a sign that was posted on the employee board that said, "Who's the rat?" Now I work with unions, if those of you in unions know what that means. Okay, we have a big rat outside of buildings at times. That's what was left on the employee's bulletin board. And then the employees were fired. So that doesn't smell too bad, does it? Okay. So again, if you start an investigation in the accounting department, it will lead you where you want to go. You follow the trail of the money. My suggestions are pretty brief. I'd like to put together, with people hopefully here and who haven't shown up today, watchdog groups. Not attack groups, okay, not ravaged dogs. Groups of 3 for each department in the community that can work with the board, that can go to the board and share the information that they're finding and they're seeing and they're observing in those departments. I'd also like to have a group that would work with me, working with the GM and the board of directors. Again, not my intention to do this the ugly way, although I must be honest and tell you I'm prepared, okay? I want to work with the board. I keep saying it publicly. I will go other directions if I feel we can't get that relationship, but I think we can. I think we can if we stop the rumor mill and have facts coming out from people who are involved in these watchdog groups. The bottom line is, guys, we can't change the past. We can't get the money back that's lost. You need to accept that. It's fine. However, we need to determine how it's happening, where it's happening. We need to determine, is this just bad actors in each department, or is this an overall problem? Our community is 50 years old. Do these bylaws still apply to our community? Or have we outgrown the bylaws? Is that the bigger problem that we have to talk about? To run a referendum. Again, don't know, just throwing my thoughts out and want to discuss it with you guys today. These are just some of the things that I'm asking. We did a deep dive audit. Can anybody here tell me, have the 23 pages of corrective action been put in place? Does anybody here know the answer to that question? Well, we're homeowners, don't you think we should? Transparency, okay? It comes down to that. This is our community. The board works for us, just like our elected government officials. It is our right to challenge, question, and demand response, just like you would with your congressman, your senator, and the president. Whole nother conversation. But it is important that if we have to do a referendum, which I'm hoping we don't, but maybe we do with bylaws, that we get the right law firm. I've had 4 that have been referred to me in the last week that are experienced in these situations. It's really sad when everyone has heard about the mess in our community. I talked to the Consumer Protection up in Baltimore. You know what the woman said to me? We heard all about the mess down there. That's what I was told. When I see articles like the mutiny in the Pines, it doesn't make me too proud, okay? Here's the big wrench, and having been in real estate many years of my life, this continues. Nobody's going to want to live here. No one's going to want to move here. We're all going to lose our property values, and that's a fact. That's an absolute fact. This is a great community. I don't want to let the past decades, and everyone keeps telling me, Esther, this has been going on for decades. I don't care. I don't want to let the last decades define who we are today and who we can be tomorrow. But I'm going to throw it back to you guys. I can't do this alone. I'm looking for people to be involved. Again, I know these other groups tried. They haven't met me. I'm a very, straightforward person. And I have no problem fighting for the cause. Again, not a witch hunt. All right, I'm going to open up to the floor, so who would like to speak?
I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You said, Steve Lynn, you had originally said that we can't run the HOA ourselves, which is 100% correct. But now you're talking about cooperating. Which way do you want to go as far as a management company, and what's the time frame? Or
Here's an example. I'd like to sit with the board and push hard to get RFPs out to HOA companies who can run our organization. Not just talk about it in a board meeting. Follow through. All right? And work with the board in making sure they get out. One of the problems, and it's not just this board, and I can't just keep looking at this board, it really is boards over the years. We talk about doing it, what happens. Like I said to you, 23 pages of corrective actions. Do you know they've been installed?
yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so my direction is with us to basically push the board this direction, to get the RFPs and to bring in an outside management company and admit that we can't do it.
Mhm.
Next.
Yeah, the 159.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you come up to the microphone because not everybody will be able to hear you?
Or you can stand and yell like me.
The 159,000, that's, I assume, per year to manage Ocean Pines. If that were the case, would we still have a paid general manager? Because I know that one private Red Hill was making more than 159,000 a year.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that question. That is things that we'll learn as we go. I can't answer that question. This is my first time. Peggy?
Get paid when he was acting GM.
Oh, I know that, I was talking about, I said the one prior to.
Oh, that was Mr. Thompson. Okay. Thompson.
Like to bring in, and I think Matt Ward was the name that was told to me, to bring in the group to be an HOA for the food, but it's not enough. We need a HOA, the group to come in and run everything, everything. You're gonna take away a third party who comes in who doesn't live here, doesn't know us, is a business to them. That's it. You make business decisions when you're not emotionally tied, not these other decisions. You don't, no offense, I don't care if it's your brother's son's uncle who's working at the yacht club. He's gonna be fired if he steals, okay? When you're emotionally involved, you unfortunately can't make the right decisions all the time. A third party can. Next. I'm sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
Frank Daly.
Hi, Frank.
Okay, for more than a year, I myself have asked for forensic audit. Okay, but I think it's kind of important that we look at this as a two-track system. Brett has alleged fraud, theft, and corruption. That is a legal law enforcement issue. And then there's mismanagement. Unfortunately, you can't throw people in jail because they're poor managers, even though you might want to. Okay? So if you look at the two tracks, and in the interest of full disclosure, twice in the last year, I have been with my attorneys at the 11th hour for filing injunctions down at district court to force the board of directors to do their job under the HOA Act. The most recent was for the forensic audit. Because when you're alleging theft, fraud, and corruption, and when it's somewhat, those allegations are somewhat buttressed by a second board member who was sitting at the time, that's an issue when you have to act. And that's an issue where you're required to act under the HOA Act, okay? And the board has effectively, I think, handled that. I don't know how many of you have read the RFP, but if the board follows the RFP, they're going to go off to qualified forensic auditing firms. They're going to sit down with them and go over all the issues, including the issues that were in closed meetings. The auditing firm is then going to develop an audit plan, and the audit plan is going to be based on where the forensic auditors think they should start in terms of following the money, rather than where the board thinks they should start based on what the board wants to do.
That's it.
That is a good procedure, okay? By the way, twice just tangentially, once as a plaintiff and once as an employee, I have been involved with cases